So a couple of months ago I made a video that was based around the likely and most realistic version of Batman's training routine and diet plan, to not only be able to look the way he does but also perform day in and day out to such an optimal level. Well, since that video I have had tons of requests to do a similar video on one of Batman's main enemies, one of the few that can outperform the Dark Knight when it comes to strength. Most famous for breaking Batman's back and almost ending his career for good, Bane. Let's get into it. Before we get into it, guys, I want to give a shout out to a channel that we're currently working on with a couple of our close friends. They set up a pro wrestling sports entertainment channel called Attitude Wrestling and asked us to help out with the presenting, as we are of course very experienced in this area. We were honoured to take on this role, as wrestling is something that we have loved all our lives, and I'm aware that there may not be much of a crossover between Batman fans and wrestling fans, but if you are into it, I wanted to give it a shout out nonetheless. Again, Attitude Wrestling, specifically specialising in the Attitude Era. You can go and check that out if you're interested. I would love it if you guys would support it. Maybe go and leave a comment on one of the videos saying that the Batcave sent you. It would mean a lot, and there are very talented people behind the scenes of that channel. It would be great if you would support it. Thank you so much, guys. Let's get on to the video. So let's clear one thing up first, and this is without a doubt the most commented thing on the Batman training video. To get to this sort of size, while also performing an unbelievable amount of cardio that Batman does, I can only imagine how many calories fighting crime burns. But to maintain that mass, certain supplements are definitely involved. Steroids are not something I'm obviously going to comment on or recommend when covering characters like Batman. However, when it comes to Bane, we know for a fact that he is on steroids, as he is literally juiced to the max with the super steroid Venom. So although we can take a fairly accurate guess on the type of training and diet that Bane may have, don't expect to be able to look like him unless you have access to comic book strength fictional steroids. Anyway, Bane is basically a grappler that is seemingly made of solid muscle. The frightening thing about Bane is not only does he possess freak strength, but he also possesses a very high-level strategic mind. He combines these two assets to wear Batman down and succeed where other villains from Gotham City have failed. For those that aren't aware of Bane's background, he essentially grew up in prison, using the confinement over the years to train his body and his mind. Eventually, Bane became the test subject for a formula called Venom that would drastically enhance his already almost superhuman strength. The effects of the serum are temporary, but even without it, Bane represents a significant physical challenge to Batman. Being stuck in a prison environment means that the majority of Bane's training, at least to start with, will have been bodyweight exercises. I say this to a lot of guys at my gym, bodyweight training is super important and should never be neglected. Not only does it give you a great base for moving forward into a proper lifting routine, but there is also a very low risk injury with most bodyweight exercises. Now, I'm going to quote an article here from The Bioneer, who has also covered this topic on YouTube, I believe. I've not seen the video, but I did read an article on the website. You should definitely show some support to that channel if you're into this sort of content, because they have a bunch of it. Anyway, bodyweight exercises can be very effective for developing strength, but only when performed to failure. As closed chain exercises, the chance of injury is low, but at the same time, going to failure means your body is forced to utilize all the muscle fiber involved in the movement. Once the slow twitch fibers fatigue, there is no choice but to engage the fast twitch fibers and large motor units. In short, lifting 10% of your 1 rep max feels like 100% of your 1 rep max once you're on the 120th rep, and the neural adaptations are similar. At the same time, this can provide a huge buildup of blood in the working muscles, resulting in significant hypertrophy, not to mention an increased blood supply for enhanced recovery via newly created capillaries. Hopefully that helps you understand the science behind it a little bit more. I thought it would be easier to quote that, as the Bioneer gets that point across much better than I could. Let's move on. As I mentioned, even without the Venom, Bane presents a significant challenge to Batman physically. That means he is likely lifting and eating a lot more than Batman. Though as his priority is not fighting crime like the Dark Knight, he will not be performing anywhere near as much cardio. So there could be an argument there for the fact that Bruce Wayne would need to consume far more calories than Bane. Now let's look at a specific workout plan for Bane. Because his focus is grappling, I have designed a workout plan based around that. As I'm a grappler myself and run a grappling academy, this is something that I am quite experienced in. Now, for many people, this routine may seem extremely random and all over the place as it mixes different types of training, but trust me, there is method to the madness. For grappling, a strong back is very important, often needing to extend the body in order to apply pressure through joints or certain positions. Grip strength is also extremely important, with a large focus on forearm strength. So Mondays will be a generic compound strength day, with focus on the three main lifts: bench, squat and deadlift. This day will be used to try and get to your maximum effort lifts. After a big day on Monday, Tuesday will be a lot lighter, with a focus on forearm exercises to increase grip strength. This will be combined with some core strength exercises. Now, if you guys want specific advice on grip training, you should give my buddy Dan Strauss a follow on Instagram. His handle is Raspberry Ape. He even has a full grip training instructional that you can pick up, and it's absolutely fantastic. Anyway, Wednesday will just be a push day. So rather than focusing on a specific muscle group, it will involve any kind of pushing movement. Bench press, shoulder press, flies, side laterals, push downs, tricep extensions, push-ups, things like that. We will also add another small grip session in at the end of this session, just 5 or 10 minutes. Again, we want to have that sort of grip that causes people to panic as soon as you grab hold of them. Thursdays will then be a pull day. So deadlifts, rows, pull downs, bicep curls and any other variations on these movements. Again, when it comes to these push and pull days, bench press and deadlifts will not be looking for anywhere near max lifts, as that is what Monday is for. No grip training here, as most pulling exercise will also work your grip as long as you aren't using any wraps or any kinds of supports. Friday then will be a rest day, though something important to add in here, which would definitely be a big part of Bane's routine, is meditation. To build the necessary willpower to forge his powerful body. Focusing the mind is an important tool to help stay focused and motivated. Saturday then is leg day, everyone's favourite day. This will be more focused on volume and movement than on strength. Again, Monday is for the bigger lifts. But it's important to train legs properly and have a little more variety than just traditional squats. Legs are the biggest muscle group in the body, and building them has a slight radial effect on other muscles. Finally, Sunday would be another rest day. As for diet, this varies massively depending on your size and genetics. How much other activity you're doing, how many calories you burn in your day-to-day life, and so on. But to maintain this sort of sheer size that Bane has, he would be consuming somewhere in the region of 6,000 to 8,000 calories per day, which trust me is not an easy thing to do. Now, we can actually take this into real life by looking somewhat at what Tom Hardy did to reach his size to play Bane in The Dark Knight Rises. Now, from what I can find online, it looks like Tom Hardy did a muscle group split, training 4 or 5 days per week. It looks like he also mixed in a lot of bodyweight work, including lots of variations on press-ups. However, everything I can find about his diet is fairly generic. Just look back at my Batman video in this series and you'll see what sort of meals he was supposedly consuming. However, recently I did see an interview with Tom Hardy where he stated that he was actually just stuffing his face with whatever he could, eating lots of pizzas and very carby foods to try and get his calories and gain as much size as he could in a small amount of time. He claims that it was good lighting that made him look like he was in good shape when he was actually pretty fat. I'm not sure I would call him fat, but he certainly wasn't as lean as he was in Warrior, for example. Anyway, this video isn't a way of giving you guys an exact training routine or diet plan to follow, it's mainly just looking into the type of things that Bane would be doing to stay as strong and big as he is. And let me just remind you once more, all of this is helped along by a super steroid called Venom. I will talk briefly about his combat training. I don't think it would be anywhere near as comprehensive as Batman's, most likely concentrating on various styles of grappling. In his time as a fully fledged Bat villain, he likely just uses actual fights to get in his training, rather than incorporating any kind of sparring. Just like I said in the last video, I'm happy to do more detailed videos on the martial arts training these guys might do. Just let me know in the comments down below if that's something you would like to see. That's it from me today, my friends. I hope you enjoyed this video. Thank you all so much for watching. Don't forget to like and subscribe and return to the Batcave for more Bat content.